All right, so I had to really think long and hard about a forgotten story, so all the stories I could think of were really sad, and I did not want to tell a sad story tonight. So I came up with one, and it's going back to last June. One of my childhood friends was getting married. Her name was Christy, and she was getting married in Geneva, where we're from, at her mom's house on Seneca Lake. So they just had a big tent out in the backyard, and on the day of the wedding, the bridal party was upstairs in Christy's old bedroom that we spent so many years in, getting ready for the wedding. We were doing our hair for several hours, and everything just takes forever to get ready for a wedding, and so guests started to arrive. We kept peeking out and kind of checking out which guests were there, and so I would say the wedding was probably at this point in about an hour. And we were finally like, Christy, you should probably put your wedding dress on because, you know, it's getting close to your big time. And she was like, oh my goodness, I forgot. I haven't tried it on since I got it tailored 6 months ago, so hopefully it fits. Like, thinking it was really funny, and us bridesmaids were a little bit nervous for her. And she also mentioned that she had gained a couple pounds, so we were a little nervous because the wedding was so soon. So she started to, you know, put her wedding dress on, and the zipper was so long. It was like 3 feet long. The dresses are just crazy. And so I started to zip her up, and I got the zipper about halfway up. And then it stopped, and then another bridesmaid had to come and kind of like hold the back of the dress together while I was like trying to zip it up. But the zipper was like so small I could barely grip it, and we were getting nervous, and then another bridesmaid had to come in and like try to handle the dress, and we just were having the hardest time. So we started hooking stuff into the zipper to try to get the zipper up. This probably took like 15 minutes, and so we finally got it all zipped up somehow. It was a huge struggle, and so I was standing behind her, and I noticed that the bottom of the zipper had started to come apart. So I was like, oh no. And so we were like, oh my god, what do I do? We unzipped, we were like, okay, we're going to unzip you and try to zip you back up again. Hopefully the zipper is not broken. So we did that, and it wouldn't even completely unzip again. It was totally broken, and we were like, oh my god, the wedding's in like 45 minutes. We're like out in the middle of nowhere in the country. Like there's nothing we can do. We were like, did your mom have like a dress around that we could wear? Because what are we gonna do? We started freaking out, and so then one of the other bridesmaids came up with a brilliant idea of, let's just sew her into the dress. So we're like, oh my god, this is our only option. So we started frantically running around the house looking for thread and a needle, and we could not find thread anywhere. We did find a needle, so we were like, oh no. And one of the other bridesmaids, Cassie, she went into the bathroom and she saw floss. She was like, well, I mean, it's like thread, it was wax, so it was like nice and sturdy. So we're like, okay, we're doing this. Like by this time, you know, it was like, the wedding was coming up really soon. Pretty much all the guests were there by then, and so we like pulled out all the floss out of the little package, and we just started sewing her in, and it was really, really hard because, you know, like I said, the zipper was so long, we had such a huge area to sew in such a short amount of time, and we didn't want to stab her with the needle, so we were trying to be really careful, but at the same time, like, she had to get married, like, so we were frantically, you know, trying to sew her up with the floss, and she was going to be trapped in the dress for the night, you know, she was going to be cut out after. Yolande was pretty much sewing it, you know, a couple of us were like holding the dress at the top, trying to make sure that, you know, it was staying together, and I kept peeking out, and I don't know, it probably took 15 or 20 minutes to get her sewn in. And then we started hearing the quartet outside playing, which meant that the groomsmen were starting to walk in, and we weren't quite done sewing her the dress. I'm like, oh my god. Then I'm like thinking, oh my god, her husband and he is going to think that she like failed. So they were probably standing out there for 15 or 20 minutes waiting for us, and they had no idea what was going on upstairs. But we finally got her sewed in, and we all frantically ran down the stairs, got out there, somehow found our bouquets, and no one knew that she had been sewn into her dress with floss. So note to self, no one forget, you should always try on your wedding dress before, maybe, not an hour before your wedding. So that's my story.